Stream Elementis. Сайт. Vanguard нижнее подчеркивание Reviewers Now Live. Streaming World of Warcraft shammy link.
Can't really. So that's actually the language. Female. Yaru.
Me. Said. Yaru.
Yaru. Yaru. Okay, where do I go? Yeah, I know. Let's do PvP. While I'm doing this. Let's do like, nah. Maybe one. I don't know. I'd rather just get my shammy level 60. Our DPS with, you know, shapes. How many do I need? How about 15? I need a. Hold up. Mace? Sure. Blade? Maybe. Blade. Or glaive. Ooh. Thanks, clean these. Shield, okay. Alright. Level 54 or 3? I think 45. Blade. And a shield. It's all. Maybe. Sure. Why not? That will help. Level 109. Okay. Level 100. That will definitely help. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make my Hearthstone here. Oh, Karen. Ellie. Karen. 105, 299. See, it's already like worthless now. It used to be like a few thousand. Then everyone got stuff. Like, that's one thing I like about Elder Scrolls Online is that all the gear is relevant. Depending on the rarity. I don't have to worry about that shit. It makes crafting irrelevant after like the first week or so. I want to see that. Yaru! That was me.
On this show that I come out here and tell you guys I have good news, but I have good news. Rouhani, so the president of Iran, says Iran would rejoin nuclear pact an hour after the U.S. does. So The Hill says that Iran's president suggested Tehran would honor the Obama-era nuclear accord within an hour of the U.S. rejoining the agreement, something President-elect Joe Biden has vowed to do. The Guardian reported that President Hassan Rouhani said Monday that Iran stood ready to restart the relationship with the U.S. under a Biden administration, but cautioned against any planned changes to the 2015 agreement. So that might be a hurdle. Rouhani also warned the U.S. and European allies of seeking to constrain Iran's ballistic missile program, the newspaper added. Biden has repeatedly
95,
said he wants to
85.
restore the
That will help.
multinational deal with Tehran.
Now if I can only craft the leather.
So, that's amazingly positive, but I'm going to warn you here. Just because Rouhani wants it doesn't mean that it's definitely going to happen, because he's not the only one in control. In fact, there's an argument, a good argument, he's not even the main person in control, because the Grand Ayatollah doesn't want to rejoin the deal, the hardliners don't want to rejoin the deal, and the hardliners are emboldened because, Rouhani and others put their neck on the line and their reputation on the line to do the original deal, and it was very popular. They abided by the deal, but then when the U.S. pulled out of it, keep it real, the moderates in Iran looked silly because the hardliners were warning all along, don't do it. Don't make a deal with the devil. They're going to stab you in the back. They're going to pull out of the deal. What they're going to do, you can't trust them. You can't trust them. We'll abide by the deal, and then they'll screw us anyway. That's exactly what happened. And Rouhani has been president for a while now, and there's a lot of discontent in Iran. So even though he says he would like to get back in the deal, he's fighting more powerful forces. He's fighting the Grand Ayatollah and the hardliners and the Revolutionary Guard. So I hope that what he's saying is correct and he's right, and they do rejoin if we rejoin, but I don't know if that will actually happen, because the hardliners, and here's the main point, guys, the hardliners in every country are trying to screw this thing, and they may have already succeeded by throwing a wrench in to the extent they did.
What?
Our hardliners are the conservatives. Donald Trump, the Republican Party, they were escalating every step of the way with Iran. We violated the deal. We're sanctioning medicine going into their country. And by the way, that's why Iran does want to get back in the deal. Is because they need economic relief. They're getting crushed.
True.
And so, to him, it's like, well, obviously, step number one is fix the economy and give people hope. And then if you do that, it opens up more possibilities. So
that's the whole thing about
I hope
economic
this is
sanctions
true,
is that
but the other thing is, I have heard conflicting
creating
things from Biden.
instability
so one
in
of
the country.
things is what he's saying, that he would just get back in the deal. That'd be great. That's the position that I like. But there's also been talk of no, for him to get back in the deal, they might have one more ask, and that ask would be no more ballistic missile development. So now here's the problem with that. We made the deal. We violated the deal. We pulled out of the deal. We embarrassed Iran. We sanctioned medicine and a bunch of stuff going into their country. And then now we're going to ask to get back in the deal and make it even more punitive? No. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. We can't have been in the wrong every step of the way, and then we have more asks and more demands to get back in the deal. And listen, there's part
I
of
didn't even click
in the context of the U.S., but I say it because it's true. The only reason they would even want a nuclear weapon or the ballistic weapons, it's for defensive purposes. Duh. Of course. Again, this is not something you're allowed to say in the context of the U.S. People think you're crazy. But no, I got news for you. It's not like the U.S. is always acting in a defensive way. No, not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. Modern history shows us usually we're the aggressor. So
7:30.
They would want any of these weapons
Does that
as
say?
a deterrent to U.S. aggression
What?
and Israeli aggression. So they'd be crazy if they didn't want more ballistic missiles. Are you kidding me? They're sort of crazy if they don't want a nuke, to be honest with you. But they don't have a nuclear weapons program, and they followed the deal to a T. So I hope this is correct. I hope the U.S. gets back in the deal. I hope Iran gets back in the deal. And I hope that we could ease these tensions because, you know, man, I'm all about peace when it comes to foreign policy. I want to see peace. I only want to use violence for self-defense. That's it. And so, in the same way that I gave Obama credit and Biden credit with the Iran deal, I gave Trump credit with North Korea. Because for me, it's all about the issue. It's about the policy. I don't care about the team. I don't care about the tribalism. I don't care about the partisanship. If the goal is peace, then you should try to get peace. You should do it in North Korea. You should do it in Iran. And unfortunately, we have this schizophrenic attitude from various factions in our government where there's no real underlying philosophy or end goal. Oftentimes it just strikes me as like terribly arbitrary how they act. I mean, Trump totally contradicted himself with blowing up the Iranian nuclear agreement, then wanting a similar kind of nuclear agreement with North Korea. What? So that just all stemmed from anti-Obamaism. He just wanted to do whatever the opposite of what Obama was doing was. So let's get back in that deal. That would be a wonderful thing. And this alone would be a giant improvement by the Biden administration over the Trump administration.
Sure. Okay. Trying for. Oh my god. Burn it all down. Not really. You know, just kind of like burn the disease blighted parts of it and then let the rest grow. Like a crop, maybe? You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. You know what I mean, guys. Tuesday and Sunday, they have two teams. Leaders are Rido and Bib. Do people pay anything for pets? Oh, no one cares about crafting anymore. Can any fuck? Can anyone craft mail? What?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Crystal?
Yes, we do. Happy Friday indeed. We've got David Sirota in the show. He's going to talk about his latest reporting on how Dems are already shifting to an austerity mindset. That's going to be awesome. We also have Jeff Stein on their minute-by-minute updates on stimulus negotiations.
What can I play in the background? I don't know. Pretty much all this. I don't even want to play music anymore. I'm just sick and tired of dealing with like music cartels, you know? Oh. I don't know. Here we go. Truth about social justice, the boys. It's kind of reaction to reaction, so it's like a triple deadlock.
Michael here, and today we're talking about The Boys. The show is sadistic and hilarious, and has plenty to say about the superhero genre.
I
in
love The
modern-day
Boys.
America.
Dude, look at this. This is why I love it, by the way. Like, it's so... The Boys is very political, okay? It's very good. It is... I love it.
America. But as we watched season 2, we kept coming back to one question. Are any of these characters for real? When Stormfront or Billy or Homelander talk about things they ostensibly care about, are they just faking it? And if so, why all the posturing? Let's find out in this Wisecrack edition on The Boys season 2. And
They're
of course,
Yeah, spoiler ahead.
hurting
but,
it.
Dude, it is so fucking good. It is perhaps one of the best... Like, I don't want to suck it off too much because, like, anytime I simp for a piece of content, there's always haters who say, like, oh, it's not good enough. It could be better or whatever. But
They're gonna do that anyway.
honestly, I find it
No matter what.
to be incredible.
Whatever you
because
do, they
of
don't do
its,
that. Who
direct
cares?
I find it to be incredible because of its direct fucking criticisms of American foreign policy. Like, they literally shit on the military-industrial complex. Like, it's awesome.
spoilers ahead.
Oh yeah, like the
Before we get into it, I
superhero
wanna give a shout
analogy.
out to this week's sponsor,
It's like they treat it like the military-industrial complex.
VPN
Makes sense.
today. And now for a quick recap. The Boys is
Hurry
the
the
story of
fuck
when
up.
Billy Butcher and his crew of vigilante misfits were trying to take down the Vought Corporation, a very evil company
Oh.
that employs and contracts
No one
services
gives a
of
shit.
often evil superheroes.
Any leather.
And now you're just another useless blind guy.
It's important
I love that.
And that's fucking hella ableist. And yet, they get away with it, dude. Because part of the reason why that person is even put up there... Wait, actually, I think this video is probably going to explain all this shit. Part of the reason why the person is brought up to begin with is because they want to what do you call it? They want to the corporation wants to fucking bring in a disabled person so that they can, like, you know, captivate the
Yeah.
disabled activist community to, like, diversify and improve their image. It's so fucking good, dude. To fill a quota, basically. Oh god.
Note that these superheroes aren't some happy accident, RIP to Bob Ross, but the result of Vought's very secretive, definitely illegal medical
Oh,
experiments
an Asian
on
disabled
children.
person too, yeah,
The boys
that's true.
try to expose
Crossbow.
Vought and save Billy's wife and her child from their head soup, Homelander. Season 2 also...
You're so full of it, you're secretly a closet Homelander? No, Homelander is a remarkably well-written character, but I understand that he is not the hero of the show, and he's not supposed to be.
He's a villain. Yeah.
Favorite thing is Trump supporters thinking Homelander's a good thing. Yeah.
Also interesting.
All right. What the fuck? Inconvenient that my note about the type was after failing his way into. Oh.
I've also had a personal love of transportation ever since childhood.
Pete Buttigieg failed his way into Joe Biden's cabinet, and the speech he gave, just incredible. I'm going to play a clip from this speech. Now, with a lot of the Biden appointments so far, while I haven't been happy with them, as they are largely terrible choices, ultra-conservative, they're qualified people in their fields. Now, they're the wrong qualifications, but you can say that they have experience in whatever they've been appointed to. When it comes to Pete Buttigieg getting transportation secretary, come on now. He's not qualified. And I'm gonna get to a few people that he beat out for the job. You will be shocked at the people that were pushed aside for Pete Buttigieg. But before I get to anything else, I'm gonna play a clip from this speech. It is just beautiful.
I've also had a personal love of transportation ever since childhood.
What?
More than once as a college student, I would convince a friend to travel nearly 1,000 miles back to Indiana with me on Amtrak. Though I know that in this administration, I will at best aspire to be the second biggest train enthusiast around. I spent a spring break in graduate school aboard a cargo ship studying there. Travel in my mind is synonymous with growth, with adventure, even love, so much so that I proposed to my husband Chasten in an airport.
Aww.
So don't let anybody
Good
tell
for
you that O'Hare
him.
isn't romantic.
Uh-huh.
All right. Before I get to anything else,
Where the fuck is it?
Pete Buttigieg's qualifications for the job. He went home on a train once during college. Or, sorry,
Yeah,
more
go
than
down.
once.
Or up. No, no.
Took a
which way?
train home.
Okay.
Okay. And he proposed to his husband in the airport terminal. Yeah, top qualifications for transportation secretary for the entire goddamn country. Watching this speech, it brings back reminders of bullshitting your way through an essay question or like through a book report, where he's clearly not qualified. He has no idea why he's. I mean, he knows why he's there. He backed Biden in the primary, but he knows he doesn't deserve to be there. He knows he doesn't know anything. But I love this book. I read it. I proposed to my husband with the book on the side table. Like, it's just there's nothing here. It is comical that he has been put into this position. Now, let me show you this, because I'm always objective. I try to be fair. There is one upside to him being here, and it's who is not in this spot. So, as Chicago Sun-Times writes
Oh,
here,
God, no.
President-elect Joe Biden is not picking Rahm Emanuel to be Transportation Secretary, who wanted it. Instead, announcing Tuesday he is selecting Pete Buttigieg, who was lobbying for other posts. You don't say! Pete Buttigieg was lobbying for something else, because clearly he has no idea why he's in this position. Yeah, so the fact that Rahm Emanuel is not Transportation Secretary is the only upside here. But of course, because of the endorsement during the primary, during a key time in that primary, that is why Pete Buttigieg had to be fit in somewhere and put him as Transportation Secretary. Now, a few more things here. I also have another clip, not of Buttigieg, but you'll see. I love this article, CBS News. The former mayor of Indiana's fourth largest city with about 100,000 residents, so talking about Pete Buttigieg. And then you scroll down to the next paragraph. If the Senate approves his nomination to lead the transportation department, Buttigieg will oversee an agency with nearly 55,000 employees nationwide and an annual budget of more than $85 billion. There is more than... He's going to be overseeing employees that amount to more than half of the amount of residents he had when he was mayor. This man only fails upward. It is incredible. And to buttress that point, I have Jason Johnson here, who I am not a fan of. He spent the entire Democratic primary attacking Bernie Sanders to the point that MSNBC actually had to kick him off the air. Look that up. But look at his comments here. This is a guy who, again, he's for the most part very conservative Democrat in terms of his commentary. But listen to his comments on Pete Buttigieg.
I tend to think, as much as it's an accomplishment for diversity, look, I've always thought that Mayor Pete sort of failed up, to be perfectly honest. I think there are transportation secretaries that you could have gotten out of Michigan, Jeanette Sadiq gone, Fonte Carver out of Cleveland. I think there's a lot more people that you could get at a local level that know a lot more about transportation than Mayor Pete. But I also think, quite basically that some of these selections are not just about Biden filling his cabinet, not just about giving favors to people who may have endorsed him during the primary, but also perhaps kneecapping potential rivals for Senator Harris in 2024 or 2028.
Now, on his last point, I'm not sure if that was the thought process in terms of putting Pete Buttigieg into a position. It was clear once Buttigieg backed Biden that there was some kind of deal going on there, that he was going to be part of the administration. So I don't think Buttigieg would have been able to mount any serious challenge to Kamala Harris in 2024. I'm looking more at people like Nina Turner to challenge Kamala Harris. Again, assuming Biden does not last 8 years, I think Biden's going to bow out after 4 years. But anyway, that's a whole different discussion. Jason Johnson here, obviously, recognizing that, yeah, Buttigieg has failed upward into this position. He is not qualified. Here are some other names of people that Biden could have picked that, on paper, a lot more qualified than Pete Buttigieg. David Kim, 8 years at Department of Transportation, LA Transit, head of California's State Transportation Agency. Sarah Feinberg, 4 years at Department of Transportation, led the Federal Railroad Administration, head of New York City Transit. John Porcari led Maryland Department of Transportation, U.S. Department of Transportation Deputy Secretary. So clearly, everybody here a lot more qualified than Pete Buttigieg. But we don't know if they took a train home from college once, and we don't know if they proposed to their spouse in an airport terminal. So, I don't know. Pete Buttigieg may in fact be more qualified. Unbelievable how some people just fail upwards, and the world appears to accept it. And by the way, Trump, the media was very clear about his appointments not being qualified. They were correct, and in most cases, not even unqualified, but also there to actually destroy whatever agency they were there to lead. But
video game discourse or broken cyberpunk. Yeah, I have to agree. Perfect. No, but you, I don't know.
Do you want to kick off today's video with a joke? I thought we'd keep things light. Kick off with a bit of a joke, you know, have a bit of a joke. So here's a joke for you. For over a year, and only more virulently in the months and weeks before its release, Cyberpunk 2077's fans defended the game they loved but hadn't played from any and all criticism. The slightest
No point in
objection
that.
to Cyberpunk 2077 being seen as the greatest video game of all time was quickly rallied against and swatted down and attacked en masse. The suggestion that CD Projekt Red could ever do any wrong was blasphemy to these people. You couldn't mention CDPR's workplace toxicity. You couldn't question CDPR's questionable relationship
No one
with
cares
socio-political issues. You couldn't even
about
say
my low
that
work
the game
need.
gave you a seizure when the game gave you a seizure without Cyberpunk
Feels bad, man.
77 fans pointing at you and thinking, that criticism is a little too far. And then Cyberpunk 2077 came out.
Oh my god, that is horrible. Ow, my fucking eye burns. Ah, shit. Oh my god, that's horrible. Ow, fuck. Ah. Where'd he go? Come on! No! God damn it.
Video game discourse is completely fucking broken. It's been broken since before I even started talking about video games for a living, and I can tell you it was broken then because it's broken now, and it's the exact same fucking discourse. You think the weeks of outrage leading up to and immediately following Cyberpunk 2077's release constitutes a new phenomenon? Oh no, it's not even the first time it's happened this year. As you might have forgotten already, but The Last of Us Part 2 came out a few months ago and sent fandoms into spirals of irrational anger. Before then it was Death Stranding, Red Dead Redemption 2, Smash Brothers, it goes on. In 2006 it was Twilight Princess. At the time the most important, soul-rendingly crucial game of all time. I mean, it was that important. They're always that important. For about 2 weeks, and then they're not anymore. Twilight Princess isn't even the most important Zelda game, let alone the most important game period. But that's how it was treated. It's how all these games are treated for about 2 weeks after they come out, and then everyone realizes that, oh, this is just a fucking video game. It's not actually the center of the goddamn universe. But GameSpot reviewer Jeff Gerstmann notoriously gave the, at the time, latest Legend of Zelda 8.8 out of 10, and was harassed for it, hounded for it, hated for it. That was around the time I started getting into games media myself, and it set the course for nearly 2 decades of unbelievable bullshit, circular arguments, and a discussion that only evolves in terms of how vicious it gets, never in terms of content or resolution. Review shouldn't have scores. Review should be objective. Reviewers should 100% a game before writing about it.
But
I don't know. It's unrealistic. Argument since 2006.
You can't put something out 100% a game in like a week. You just
like
can't.
pretty much all mainstream video game discourse, it's stagnant, boring,
You
and
have deadlines
toxic.
to worry about.
You all know the routine by now, because the routine
just
is
dumb.
what it is. You know what to expect when a major so-called AAA game drops its review embargo and the critical consensus comes in. For the most part, it's always a consensus. It's simply a fact that the majority...
It reminds me of what Alana Pierce said about most reviews are meant for other colleagues. And I kind of starting to believe that, because it just doesn't feel like they're actually caring about what the public wants to, like, they're not written for the public, they're written for, the colleagues. So they're usually puff pieces, or they try to use the fanciest language they can and make them the snobbiest language that they can to make themselves feel like they're something sometimes. And it's just not really meant for people to actually enjoy. It's just meant for I don't know what do you call it. Fart smelling. That's basically what it is. It's just like written word, fart smelling with the written word. Pretty much. 116, hell yeah. Oh! Don't fucking destroy it. That's it. That's all game journalism is just fart smelling right now. Fart sniffing. Yeah, South Park fart sniffing, definitely. Sniff your own farts. So smug. Alright, why are we pulling so many stuff? But, okay. I can try to heal that, and then I'll fail. Either way, that's okay. I literally just repaired, so. Well. Anyway.
Mass market AAA games will enjoy incredibly high review scores. In reviews that sometimes don't mention important things like the story because the story has been embargoed by the publisher, or the bugs, which we heard nothing about until the game came out. How does that happen? Anyway, it's not like all video game reviews are completely vapid and unchallenging. There are always outliers. When a new, massively hyped video game comes out, people who do have something more critical to say, people who don't want to just say, great graphics, 10 out of 10, there's always a handful. or at least one, and for them, the knives are inevitable. They know it's coming. You know it's coming. And in my past experience in games media, the publications hosting the reviews know it's coming, but often leave the reviewer on their own, stranded to face the harassment alone. So yeah, the massive gamer hate train, we all know it's coming. We know that for the crime of not liking a video game as much as other people on the internet think they might like it, because it's not out yet, they're about to be dogpiled, harassed, threatened, and attacked. I've been in that position many times as someone who doesn't agree with the statistical notion that almost every single AAA video game is a fucking masterpiece. They said Grand Theft Auto 4 was the fucking Godfather. Many of you already know the most famous review backlashes.
He is not in a tank. What the fuck is he doing?
8 out of 10 to Gears of War 3, or when people thought I was out of my mind for disliking Final Fantasy. History is more or less caught up with me on that one. There was a period of time where I was a villain for saying that Quantic Dream wasn't all that good. Imagine that. There was a period of time where you couldn't say a bad word against Quantic Dream, because this was a period before people realised they could do a lot better than Quantic Dream. There was that time I said Assassin's Creed 2 was bad but loved the Saboteur, and I stick by that. The Saboteur is better than Assassin's Creed 2, or at least it was. I mean, I've not played either of them since they first came out. There were, of course, the famous DDoS attacks I got for the 5 out of 10 No Man's Sky review and the 7 out of 10 I gave to Breath of the Wild. These are merely the more notable ones, however. I've received threats, insults, stalking, and more over the years from people who claim to love video games, but express nothing but abject hatred. I don't know, maybe if I just focused on graphics and levels,
They're probably in their
glitches, I'd have been a far more successful
middle school.
critic.
Or
Who needs
like,
to look at anything else? What else are games? Right, kids?
Yeah, no,
Because that's what people actually want
their
from
life's
video
too
game
easy.
reviews. They want video games to be treated like the most important cultural touchstone of a generation, and nothing more than
that's a
flashy
boss?
children's toys
Oh,
with
shit,
no
shit.
depth or nuance. Just tell us,
Alright.
is it graphics good, gun, shoot, bang, bang, feel nice? 10 out of 10, please, thank you. I'll never forget the moments before reviews for Grand Theft Auto 5 were published. It was like waiting to go over the top of the fucking trench. Just 1,000-mile stares as people braced for the hardcore gamers and their seeming desire to be upset by critical appraisal for a game, again, they hadn't played yet. The game wasn't out at that point, and let me tell you, there is a very genuine wish to be distressed among some of these people. I've seen communities whip themselves up into a frenzy over reviews they haven't read yet. I've seen communities merely guess what certain reviewers, such as myself, might say, and get themselves worked up over that. This was taken, of course, to its most ridiculous extreme when I woke up one morning to find I'd given Super Mario Odyssey a 7 out of 10 and was being pilloried for it. I had never reviewed Odyssey. It was released after I stopped giving out scores, and it was actually one of my favourite games of the year. But the overwhelming evidence provided by...
Oh my god, that's a stock image of him hanging his head with a... What is he doing? He spent the... Oh my god. That was an actual stock video. That's unbelievable. He went out of his way to hit himself really with a keyboard. Somehow, without hurting himself. That's amazing.
From the critics, GTA 5's pre-fans, you could only call them pre-fans before the games come out, were nonetheless looking for things to be fucking angry over. So they started digging out single negative sentences and paragraphs in otherwise positive reviews and getting mad at those. Happened to me a few times that day, happened to others. At one point I just sat in the bathroom and muttered Jesus Christ to myself because the sheer desperation by Gamers TM to be angry was just staggering. I think this is when I officially recognised that the gaming discourse was beyond salvation. It was another GameSpot reviewer, Carolyn Petit, that got it worse, with so-called gamers demanding she be fired over her, let's...
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Score. Oh, 9 out of 10 GTA 5 review.
Oh my
because
god.
She mentioned in one small part of her otherwise glowing write-up that there was misogynistic content in it, which, yeah, there is. It's GTA 5, that's just a fact. But to some gamers, Factual information is the last thing they want in reviews, even while paradoxically
Why?
claiming that all reviews should be fucking objective. Ironically,
It's like the reverse Streisand effect.
Facts don't care about your feelings crowd, but they clutch their pearls and scream the scream that levels nations if you point out uncomfortable facts regarding their favorite toys. And of course, the crowning example
Or
from this year
maybe it
is
is the first
Cyberpunk
effect.
2077, with fans as scarily loyal and willing to excuse anything, except bugs
Right.
apparently, as CD Projekt Red's fan base. It was never going to be pretty. Many people in games media were bracing for yet another round of the same fucking fight that's been had multiple times a year since the 2000s. And when those reviews were published,
What?
it was no pleasant surprise. People
Hold
were
up.
suddenly chill and accepting of anything that wasn't 100% universal praise. No. The slightest deviation from the narrative that Cyberpunk was the greatest game of all time would be quickly corrected by an army of corporate loyalists who won't hear one bad word said against a product they decided to love before it was even out from a company that doesn't actually care about them. Now that's punk. As I said earlier, while the routine itself doesn't ever change, the scale of the nastiness does. This was exemplified earlier in the week when self-styled Cyberpunk 2077 fans literally tried to commit assault on a video game reviewer for pointing out,
What?
once again, a cast-iron
Assault?
objective fact. See, Cyberpunk is a very edgy and punk game, and one of the punkest things it does is potentially induce seizures by using flashing colours in a pattern specifically designed to induce seizures, something CDPR excused by pointing out a warning that was in the EULA. The exact same EULA that does itself joke about how nobody reads EULAs. Guess what? I say EULA, not EULA. I don't have time for that. Now that's punk. Anyway, while CDPR was working on fixing that incredibly punk move, the game reviewer who pointed out she literally had a very real seizure playing the game she otherwise totally fucking loves was descended upon by children who had
Why?
their feelings hurt by the facts. Their response to someone saying Cyberpunk gave her seizures was to try and give her more seizures. For the crime of simply stating a thing that happened, the reviewer was bombarded by flashing light videos attempting to trigger a physical response, which, if you didn't know, is literally assault. Assault! Like, in some places it's very actionable as a criminal attack. Because that's what it is. Trying to
Wow.
make someone have a seizure is an actual violent assault, folks. I can't stress that enough.
Damn.
And what's more, you can't even say this was over the game's critical reception. This was one straightforward, objective statement of fact. And the Cyberpunk zealots couldn't handle it. Now that's punk. You don't want objectivity. You want obedience. You want compliance. You want consensus. You want 100% coddling, pandering, agreement. That's what you want. You know, it's funny, there are so many self-styled, angry, hardcore gamers out there who complain about video games pandering to people, pandering to marginalized gamers, pandering to minorities. Then you see one person state an objective fact about a video game and get bombarded with seizure videos, and you realize all these particular gamers want is pandering. They want to be the sole recipient every single
I hate
second
dating.
of every
I just
single
wanted
day of
to
their
die out
private little lives.
forever.
That's why they behave this way. They're so
You know what I
used
mean?
to getting everything they want that when someone doesn't toe the line, however slight the deviation,
I
they're
just want it
attacked
to
as
die
an
out
thing.
forever.
Out comes the harassment, out
I don't
come the
want to worry
calls to
about
have the
it ever
reviewer
again.
fired. The message from the Cyberpunk Phantom's more militant wing was simple. Don't dare fucking speak up. This was justified by some of the less militant fans who reminded myself and others that, if you think about it, the game's press did kind of ask for it by apparently having it out for Cyberpunk. I'm guessing by having it out, they mean publishing reports of the abuse and crunch and workplace toxicity at CDPR. More of that no good factual information spoiling the party. It's fucking funny too, they act, right, as if there was this press allegiance against CD Projekt Red, one of the most adored and fucking fawned over studios in the world. And then you look at the reviews that do what mainstream game reviews always do. They gloss
over or outright sweep under the rug any of the ethical issues that have been reported about the game the year before, so they can just focus on the game itself in a vapid and cowardly attempt to contribute to the discussion while contributing precisely fuck all to the discussion. They do it with Ubisoft, they do it with every exploitative in-game economy, they sure as fuck did it with Cyberpunk. But no amount of critical acclaim, no amount of praise is ever enough for a bizarre and frankly frightening strain of so-called hardcore gamer. A person so lacking in nuance and depth that unless you literally say a game is perfect, you're an enemy worthy of violent physical assault. I've seen people lose their shit over Nintendo games not getting 10 out of 10s. I've seen writers that write entire essays in response to one negative sentence in an otherwise completely positive review.
Because they have no life.
They have to
have no
as best they can the slightest critique. Especially if the critique is justified, which it is when you say that it's weird how The Witcher 3 is almost 99%
no
The fact that huge title launches like Cyberpunk 2077 always have game reviewers bracing for harassment and attacks, and always have an army of pros ready to tear down anyone who dares say a fucking video game isn't literally perfect, is most definitely a problem the so-called
cybersecurity loan app,
and ducked all accountability for, and yes, a lot of this does fall on
$10,000.
They never told anyone to stop this shit for over almost 20 years of it. They've never asked anyone to stop going to battle for them. When there was a full-on organised hate campaign over video games, most publishers fully ignored it. A cynic would say it benefited them. Game publishers just go further and further to inspire loyalty, hype and obsession in their fan bases. And whew, did they fucking get it. They have tiny little sycophants out there trying to keep critics in line with seizures now. It's a level of mindless, puppet-esque corporate loyalty previously only dreamed of in our most dystopian of fiction. So it's fitting that Cyberpunk 2077 should inspire so fucking much of it. All to lead up to this huge punchline that the game they've been fucking standing for over a year is riddled with bugs. Deliciously the one problem that gamer bros actually take seriously because it doesn't just affect other people. Oh, they'll defend the toxic work conditions, they'll defend the seizures, but bugs? They'll affect your video game, even if you're straight or a guy. So now it's a wheel problem. This whole situation demonstrates just how fucking stupid anyone is to get pissy and mad about a game review for a video game that hasn't even been published yet. You idiots. Are you gonna send seizure videos to yourself now for dinging it in the Metacritic user reviews? Or at the very least, will you, I don't know, apologize for being such morons? No, you won't, because bugs are apparently the only important thing in the game industry, right? To all of these unpaid fucking puppets of video game publishers, I say this. Please, for the love of God, get more than video games into your life. If you've become so obsessed, so thoughtlessly and violently obsessed with games that you're prepared to assault someone over them, you've not got the perspective left to healthily engage with the things. Clearly there is something deeply wrong if video games make you behave so frenziedly. For one reason or another, you've tied so much of your identity and sense of happiness to your entertainment that any imagined threat to your piggybacked joy, and it's always imagined, will make you lash out like a wounded animal. You know, Gamergate was weird, right? Deeply fucked up weird. Years-long hate campaigns over video game journalism, based in lies to begin with. You know that was fucking peculiar behaviour, not rational in the least. And surely you know on some level that it's very disturbing to try and trigger seizures in someone because you like the customised dick video game. Or at least you thought you did before you played it and it glitched out on you. I believe that you can love something too much, that you can become obsessed with anything to the point of losing all sense of nuance, context and perspective. For some people that's evangelicalism, for others it's nerd culture, which seems to particularly inspire a kind of religious love that borders on troubling at the best of times. When you've reached the point that video games of all things are so crucial to your happiness that you're willing to do real life harm in their name, you need to stop. Take a break. Find another hobby. Find friends. I mean it. I'm not saying this as a snarky bit. I've tried snarking at you people. I've tried reasoning with you. I've tried outright berating you. None of it will ever take. All I'm left with is the thing you hate most. The statement of fact. The fact is this. You can call yourself a hardcore gamer all you like, but if you're violently harassing people over video game reviews, you're no hardcore gamer. You literally can't fucking handle video games. Now learn to regulate your fucking emotions. I can recommend a therapist.
Oh, Cyberpunk 2077. The way you capitulate to Twitch's DMCA guidelines and tie gender to voice is so punk! Anyway, my message to fellow hardcore gamers, because that's definitely what I am, is to, well, listen to everything I say because I know what's best for you. You don't have to tie your sense of identity and self-worth to a video game. You don't have to take video games that seriously. Listen to me. As someone who wrongfully dedicated their life and their career to taking video games too seriously, don't do it! Don't do it! You do not need every single AAA video game day and date. You do not need to be part of the broken discourse. Take a leaf out of my book. Instead of playing Cyberpunk, I started taking estrogen. Now that's fucking punk.
Why? Why? Good job. He's just outrageous in the best way possible. Okay. Alright. Where do I go? Here? No. Go this way. Right. Over here. Over here. Over here. And then over there. There it is. Cool. And just. I know. Keep. Fine. Cool, got it all. Wait, so does it actually pass? Ah, god damn. Onions. It's like locking up my oh god damn. Hold on. Whew. Strong. Why is it like doing that right after? Oh, Angry Joe, freaking out. I'm satisfied with the gameplay of Cyberpunk.
What the hell? Here, all yours. What's so good in you?
What? Oh, the car. Okay, where's the bank? I need a bank.
Seriously? Johnny, see what happened? It feels off here.
You don't say.
Seriously?
Oh my god.
It's time for an angry rant. Screw it. Let me show you. Let me show you about the 16th time I was pulled out of the immersion of the game. Check it out. I was trying different paths. I was going in this freaking seedy area, talking with this guy, and I thought, okay, well, you know, first off, I'm gonna beat the hell out of him because he's a creep, he's an asshole, and I'm gonna, you know, just get the information. And that actually worked.
Stop it!
It worked fine. You got the first person. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. Like,
Really?
I actually feel like it's scary.
Well, that helped.
Knock this dude out. And then I'm like, okay, but wait, that was.
Oh god.
They said that you could do these things in multiple paths. So I was like, okay, let me try a different path. Let me fucking reload the game here, and let me load, and I'm gonna be diplomatic, and I'm not gonna hit him. I'm not gonna, as much as I want to hit him, I'm not gonna hit him, right? And I'm just gonna talk to the guy, and then, you know, see how it goes, and then maybe rob his ass afterwards, or then maybe kill him afterwards, you know, and take his stuff. And, you know, once again, this game's unfinished, terrible, ugly state of missing features and broken features showed its ugly head. Check it out.
Be there. I'll be outside.
Okay. Judy's right. People like you make this city a living hell. Day in, day out. City would be.
Got what you wanted, didn't you? So get the fuck out of here.
Fuck you! The city would be better off without you. You piece of
Need something else?
What the fuck? Is it fucking disappeared? What the fuck? Loot his body. What the shit, dude? Where'd he? What the? What? Where the fuck is the cop? The fucking cop just fucking spawned in out of fucking nowhere.
Damn.
Is there a fucking door? The fuck did the cop come from? I got 2 fucking star now. Because I had to fucking kill a cop because he fucking spawned into the fuck. Did he come through here? No, this is a fucking bathroom. What the fuck? Fuck. What the fuck? This. Fuck the fucking cop spawns. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious right now? Right here. Another one. What the fuck? What the? Oh my god! This game. There's what the fuck? Who the fuck is shooting me?
Eight gold, 67, 64, 167.
They're not coming through this fucking door, and there's no fucking way to get in anywhere. Cop AI, my ass. Every fucking NPC has a goddamn cycle or whatever. There's like a fucking daily routine and shit. My fucking ass. Straight up lie. See, and it says here, Cyberpunk has a wanted system and corrupted police. This was back in 2019. CD Projekt Red reveals that they have a wanted system with corrupt police as well as powerful NPCs that can come after the player character. Have you guys ever had a powerful NPC that can come after you, some kind of mercenary? Have you guys have the wanted system work for you? The UI coordinator, Evelyn Liu, revealed the game will have a wanted system and players will terrorize you because it's blatantly corrupt. So the police system is blatantly corrupt and can take bribes. At what point could I have offered a bribe to that officer? Are you serious? Speaking revealed that the police force is up for hire, that laws exist to take bribes from corporations. Corporations could bribe a government, pass a law, and corrupt police. Let's see, a city of people trying to constantly get one up on each other is not a place where you want to trust the government. Police force isn't the only group that may come after the character. Zarkin is working on a gameplay system where NPCs will be not very nice to players if they start killing their many people, which I don't know about you, but like you know, you whip a gun out and they don't.
We don't have. The quest is
runs away.
outside,
Once
right?
you start firing, they run away.
Yeah.
Or if you start punching people, everybody fucking runs. I've actually never had anybody come up to me and be like, "Oh, no, I'm a citizen. You're under arrest." It's never fucking happened to me, guys. So honestly, there's they clearly
No!
put a lot of content. The police in the game is completely fucked. They will just spawn like down the street from you, you know, and start shooting immediately, and they're fucking pixel perfect. I have been shot out of a fucking moving car with pixel perfect accuracy. It's it's ridiculous because
Really?
chases essentially are non-existent because like all you have to do is just move a few blocks away and then they're done. And even in this instance,
Well,
like,
I did.
after the copter fires,
They did chase after me after I accidentally killed a guy on stream in that temple for about 200, 300 feet.
So the police are
Guess it just depends on where you are.
dumbest thing ever in Cyberpunk 2077. So yeah, I want them to. I don't know what they're doing with that multiplayer thing they talked about. No, don't ever talk about that again until you obviously fix the bugs, fix the glitches, and then start fixing some of the missing features, like giving the police
What the
actual
fuck?
fucking AI,
Get away.
giving them an actual system that works like Grand Theft Auto. Fucking putting in the mercenaries, putting in some of these other systems that you, at least not having them spawn out of fucking nowhere. All right.
Oh my god.
Apologies for the confusion.
What?
It's getting ridiculous now, guys, and I'm a little behind on my review because, you know, I just...
What? I never seen that. That never happened to me.
I just put down
The car just came through the metal detector. It came right in the highest part. Oh my
And
god.
I just wanted to take a break and play a board game with friends, and, you know, so I spent Sunday doing that, and now I'm back, and I'm running into all...
What the hell? What platform is he playing on? That never happened to me. What the fuck?
Damn it, I'm so fucking sick and tired of fucking the goddamn bugs in this game pulling me out of the fucking game. Fucking reload. I wish this fucking load time would take fucking longer if it meant that
He's
it
gonna
would
get
load
angry.
goddamn assets correctly.
I'll give an angry bad review.
What the fuck is this?
Damn.
What the fuck? What is a bullet of a floating bullet? And I go, okay, I would have put, what the fuck?
That's the thing. You gotta review the bad games to be entertaining. I guess. I don't know. He's always the most entertaining when he reviews shit games.
What is this? What is this low? Look at this low res cowboy.
Oh, he's playing PS4. No wonder.
Oh my god. God damn it. What the
I
fuck?
can barely run it.
You know, the texture's not loading, and then me whipping out my guns, and me whipping out no gun whatsoever. You know, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think the update kind of made things worse, at least for me.
Oh my god.
It made them better on the
That's a
consoles,
pretty good
and
comment.
the consoles are working, but I don't want to get into this argument with 1,000 people on the internet.
We start getting refunds.
Completely fine, and I'm having no problems whatsoever. Well, good for you.
Yeah, good for me. Good for me.
Some of us are finding this shit ridiculous. Some of us are finding
Good for me.
ones that are blocking our
Good for
progress or
me.
just ruining the immersion of the
Yeah,
game.
good
Getting
for
so
me.
involved in the story, and I'm getting like the theme, and then something.
That sucks. One whole two platforms out of the 5 suck.
I never thought I'd be doing an angry rant on the state of Cyberpunk, but it has been multiple days now and multiple times where, you know,
This caller, the most annoying pre-fight ever.
some stupid fucking unfinished piece of shit system.
That's actually kind of. I'll get used to it. I'm gonna do Mythic anyway.
To obviously fix the game. They said they're sorry. They said they can get refunds, and that's great. But it should have never fucking happened in the first place. And it makes me very disappointed from a company like CD Projekt Red. And yes, I'm still working on the review. And no, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I got fucking depressed as I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
And I like didn't want to fucking play it. I wanted to try to wait until more patches come out, but then you read their fucking thing. There's patch number 1 in fucking January because everybody has to go on vacation. You fucking release the game, and then everybody goes on vacation. You don't expect it. You crunch your employees, and then you don't expect your employees to stay during Christmas. There better be no fucking employees from CD Projekt Red having to grind through Christmas to get all these bugs.
True. Yeah, good point. I don't want that either. They ground enough.
If I take
grinded
my time
enough.
with a review and
Grinded
I
enough.
take like a week or 2 or 3 for these bigger games, then maybe
Grinded or
it'll be
ground?
great by the end, and I can give a more complete
Grinded.
rating. No, I'm just gonna have to push through now in the state, and I think one of my states was completely corrupted. I could not move on.
Oh yeah.
So then
I haven't had that happen. I've been saving in iterations though. So like every new save I do is a new iteration.
Not all that different as I was led to believe that they would be, but we'll see. We'll see by the end of the game and all that, guys. This is just an angry rant, and I just wanted to not only share my experiences, Joe, Jacob, Alex, who are playing on the last gen consoles, who are playing on the PS4, who are playing on the Xbox One, can share similar stories. I mean, we've seen the game completely chug and then like fucking crash. Jacob told me that he would fire and you could basically see a bullet. It would just freeze and then like this and that.
Wait, what?
And the latest update did make it something.
Oh, the bullet for freeze?
So they're
Holy
actually
shit.
getting through the game. And I don't know, guys. I'm just fucking saddened. And I've been going through it really slow, hoping that more patches would come out. But I guess I just gotta power through the rest of it. And I know, well, I don't have any time with Joe. You're being unfair to the game, and then half of the fucking audience is gonna fucking hang me for not being as angry as I should be, and then another half of the audience is gonna hang me for even saying anything bad about CD Projekt Red and all this stuff. No, this is fucking unacceptable. It's unacceptable. See, Cyberpunk came out in a state that was unacceptable on last gen and even on current gen, even on PC. I am not playing on a last gen system. I have a very good fucking PC rig, and I'm running into this shit that's pulling me out of the game, and it's just no, right? No, okay? No! Bad CD Projekt Red. Bad!
Yeah. Like what?
What is going on? Who's making that noise? What? Oh no! It's rave time! Oh no! I just get so to the elevator! I don't know what to do. Fixed it. I think I fixed it.
1900. That's not bad. That's comparable to Chain Heal. It's actually better than Chain Heal.
Sweet.
And what about Chain Lightning? It's actually better. Yeah, it's actually pretty decent.
Breaking Steam records, breaking fucking records. You've already made all your money back, by the way, on digital sales only. So now, from here on out, it's profit only. So from here on out, you fucking fix this game and put some of those
Should be like 5,000 or 6,000 since it's only a 1 minute cooldown.
Like the fucking, you know, an actual cop system, an actual mercenary NPCs. Make the NPCs act a little better as they do in Grand Theft Auto. You know, put some of these systems back in, and just I don't know. I could see cut content, especially in the corpo. path, like it just like you're going on this big heist kind of thing, and then boom, it just ends, and then you fucking never see from that guy again that went to put you on the mission. You can't even go against Abernathy or whatever her name is. You know.
Oh, yeah.
That's it's impossible to get to, and then you go on a more impossible mission right after that. They just cut it off. No, it feels rushed.
Yeah.
It feels like they pushed this out and this wasn't ready.
I
What
ran
happened
through
to
the-
releasing the game when it was ready? Clearly, the game was not released when it was ready.
They spent
And now-
$330 million making it.
And it sucks because, and then people are yelling at me, well, oh, you're not being hard enough, but as I actually like the game. There are great fucking moments in this game where I'm fully immersed and I'm in the night city and there's long dialogue sections and I'm fucking immersed and I like some of the combat. Yes, it's fucking janky and yes, it's broken, but I like some of it. And it's just, it's crazy. And I guess guys gotta finish through. I just gotta keep pushing through the game, guys. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there and share some of the experiences with me that I've been having. Luckily, the latest patch has kind of fixed some of the gamer-breaking ones and stuff like that. I haven't run into one where I couldn't progress like I did with the car that suddenly flipped and I can't get in the car that I need to get in the car. So there's freak accidents that happen all the time. But people are falling through the world. People are, you know, doing all this other stuff. And so if we do not give Bethesda a pass for Fallout 76 and the state that shit came out in, we do not give CD Projekt Red a fucking pass for the state that this is coming out in. And yeah, guys, that's the fucking angry rant. Fix the fucking cops in Night City immediately. I mean,
A motorcycle. I never had that happen. Motorcycles rolling around stairs.
Try to roleplay, and you have to have known that people were going to do stuff like that. But I guess we'll just stay on the main path, do fucking nothing else.
Yeah.
And see how it goes. But like I said, I'm enjoying some of the story. I just think that there's a lot of.
I don't really want to play that game now.
And honestly, they deserve.
Today is
I don't want to do it, but I have to because this is and it's even more depressing.
Wait, so when's the assessment
When a
for
company
my
that I
fucking
trust,
class?
with a company that I'm like, yes, I'm
Do you
like so
have one?
hyped about the game and thinking that they would do it right this time around because they've gone through fucking which they knew better. They fucking knew better, and they did it anyway.
Yep.
So, that's it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, don't die! Whew. Sound effect. I don't know if Enter is a bad idea. I mean, it's probably just second. Like, the... Damn it. Probably gonna have to change, actually. Because I'm gonna be single DPS. I don't know. I mean, shamans are good for multi... targeting anyway, so... Oh shit.
So this is the Jimmy Dore video that's like making the rounds on like left Twitter today. We already, for those of you who don't know the rest of the drama, I mean, I think this is a pretty good rendition, I guess, a pretty good summarization of what the is going on with the Jimmy Dore drama. Jimmy calls out AOC. Says AOC's not doing enough to push for Medicare for all. Says that you know, AOC should use her power now that like there is a slimmer margin in Congress. Wants a purely aesthetic vote on Medicare for all from the Democrats. Wants to put it to the floor at least so that you know, and hold Nancy Pelosi's appointment over it. Says she's fake. and you know, a grifter or whatever, and has like left the left, or is like against Medicare for all or something now. 1917, women's suffrage was an aesthetic vote. Yeah, no, women's suffrage happened on accident. You're right, because like congressional Democrats in the House knew that the congressional Republicans in the Senate were never going to pass it, so they said they're going to go for it, and then boom, oops, before you know it, women can vote. I'm so glad that they duped their way. Yeah, there was no mass mobilization or anything like that. It just happened purely when with this gamesmanship. Good accident, just a happy, fun accident.
Kyle Kalinske just turned on you. AOC, did you see that video?
Kyle Kalinske turned on you.
Guess who else? Crystal Ball. Guess who else? Jimmy Dore.
He did.
Guess who else? Medea Benjamin. Cornel.
Wait, he just named himself. We know Jimmy.
Everybody sees through you, except your fucking sycophant DSA dickheads in fucking Brooklyn. We see through you. Even my detractors see through you. That's right. Everybody sees through the squad now. And why, AOC? I'm telling they're pushing her out there because she's the most sympathetic. And so idiots can say, stop attacking her, when she is standing between you and healthcare and protecting Nancy Pelosi and her.
AOC recently went on Jeremy Scahill's Intercepted podcast and literally said Nancy Pelosi needs to go, which from her position of profound influence and actual political power is infinitely more significant as a take than any number of things Jimmy Dore can say, whether it be advocacy for Tulsi Gabbard,
Okay, fair point.
is a fucking Joe Biden simp and a transphobe, or whatever the fuck Jimmy Dore talks about on a daily basis.
He's trying to get her to actually act, though.
Ex-coworker of mine,
That's
you
sad,
always have my respect for spitting on Alex Jones. Okay, that does not go away.
Grandstand.
He's having good takes, takes that I disagree with. Yeah, I disagree.
Onions.
I think
Suck.
AOC deserves criticism, but I disagree with this.
Don't kill me.
That like AOC is anti-Medicare for all now or something like that. But then again, Jimmy Dore and I disagreed when we were both at the Young Turks when he said that Donald Trump was going to be a peaceful dove and that Donald Trump would be better than Hillary Clinton and advocated for accelerationism, and I did not. I was against that, and I think I was right and he was wrong on that. So tell Chad we need to bully politicians. They get mad when you say criticize AOC. No, I think Chad has its own way of simping for politicians, but I criticize Bernie Sanders, I criticize AOC. It's about what you criticize them over. If you criticize Bernie Sanders, for example, and say, well, you know, he's an imperialist, warmonger, social democrat who does not go far enough because he's not like fucking, you know, seizing AK-47s, intercepting like AK-47 transfers from the CIA to like a paramilitary in the Middle East, and then using those AK-47s to like infiltrate an American forward operating base and like killing U.S. military members, then you're a psycho and you should not be taken seriously. And by the way, like, you know, I'm obviously like joking, but there are people who like literally think Bernie Sanders is not revolutionary enough. It's like, dude, you are delusional. Like you live in a world where you are alone in your fantasy. Okay, certainly will never be revolutionary with conceding careerists like AOC. Here's my take on AOC once again. AOC is not the end-all be-all of your movement. AOC is not the end-all be-all of our movement. If you have
That's why there's a squad. There's more than one person involved.
then you
Yeah,
are
true.
a silly bitch. She is a politician. Ultimately, politicians are not your friends. You should absolutely pressure them, but you should also make sure that you're pressuring them in the right way. You're pressuring them to do the right thing.
Okay.
Expecting one fucking like second year congressperson to basically like do a symbolic thing that you want her to do that is not going to get the movement or the cause anywhere is a ridiculous thing to have grievances over. You're right. Voting for sanctions and allowing the F-35 to be developed in your state is
Join this party.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Snark Lord here is referencing Bernie Sanders, who got F-35s to be developed in the state of Vermont. That is not good. Something I've criticized Bernie Sanders over in the past. He wanted to make sure that Vermonters took advantage of the F-35's insanely expanded budget and create jobs in his state. I think that's bullshit. That's not a good move for Bernie Sanders. Voting for sanctions, on the other hand, is something that Bernie Sanders has gone both back and forth on. So I don't know which sanctions you're referencing, because he did vote against the sanctions on Iran.
God damn it, not this one again.
But I am a normal human
It's the
being
hardest
with
one.
a normal brain that hasn't been rotted
My opinion.
by the constant echo chamber feedback that I get from like-minded individuals who tell me that like every fucking politician is supposed to be a Marxist or anarchist revolutionary. So I can sit back and be like, Bernie Sanders is, of course, imperfect, but pretty damn near close to perfect in the grand scheme of things with respect to the time and place. If you want to fucking organize, you have to recognize the importance of people like Bernie Sanders or the importance of people like AOC and all that they do to make left-leaning politics and leftist politics more mainstream so that you can organize outside of that. That's how it fucking works. You understand this, and you know damn well that politicians are not going to take it to the fucking streets. And if they were going to take it to the fucking streets, they wouldn't be in politics to begin with. But saying that like Bernie is an imperialist warmonger is psychopathic. My take on this is a little bit different than other people's. AOC and
Bernie is not a fucking imperialist warmonger. Let's get that.
and Sam
Like,
Cedar
that doesn't make any
and other
sense.
people have had more thoughtful, more nuanced approaches to applying pressure to Nancy Pelosi, and I think that they are smart, and David Dane as well. I think they are correct in where you apply pressure. A symbolic vote on Medicare for all is just throwing it in the fucking garbage. If you're gonna, I'm not saying you should not apply pressure to Nancy Pelosi. I'm not even saying that you should vote for Nancy Pelosi. I think Nancy Pelosi sucks ass. Like, I don't think any of us on the left are like, oh no, this is actually great and we love Nancy Pelosi. What most people are saying is apply pressure in areas where you can actually make a change. The symbolic gesture on Medicare for all is not an area of change, but forcing certain cabinet positions or using
Okay, that was not good.
bottlenecking power to get certain appointments or to push for certain pieces of legislation is actually a smarter and more effective way of using your political capital. I think it's a lose-lose situation. I said this before. I said that it's either boom, purely symbolic, and Democrats all vote in unison and say yes in Congress and not in the Senate, knowing full well that it won't get passed in the Senate, or they say no because they want to take it up as a political battle against Medicare for all, to like purposely excise the left from the political arena and in unison with the media start criticizing Medicare for all, and then for a
That's more like a rogue
bill
set.
that wasn't going to go anywhere anyway,
Maybe.
you are now officially just attacking Medicare for all for no
Maybe
fucking
100.
reason. And a lot of those voters, a lot of those MSNBC watching voters, are now critical of Medicare for all if they otherwise had a more positive point of view. Where's the proof that they will vote for Medicare for all in the House? It will most likely get voted no in the House. Again, it's literally a lose-lose, which is because I originally thought maybe they'll vote no in the House. And if they vote no in the House, then you have a coordinated, unified media effort along with congressional establishment Democrats who literally fucking uses an example of how the left want unicorns and how leftists don't know how to do politics, and purposely vilify the left and also attack Medicare for all at a time when they're not even interested in pushing for the public option. If you want to put pressure, I said, put it on the virtue of the public option. Let them attack the public option if they're not going to do it. It's a symbolic yes vote regardless, even if it is a yes vote.
Key organizing moments may look like random uprisings and viral internet moments to some, but they aren't. They are the results of years of targeting, organizing, and people's movements. And this took 2 weeks. This took 2 weeks from someone who already went bankrupt from medical bills. It took 2 weeks. How long you been fucking working on this? I figured this out in 2 weeks, AOC. You liar, you coward, you gaslighter, you standing in the way of people in healthcare. You run on healthcare and then you deny it to us. You dangle it in front of your fucking constituents, and then when you get there, you don't lift a fucking finger. And I'm the problem?
Jesus.
Fuck you. You already voted for the CARES Act. Fuck you. And fuck anybody who is protecting her. Fuck you.
I've never seen someone who smokes so much fucking weed get so mad all the time. Of course, in classic Jimmy Dore fashion,
Constituents.
the error here is claiming that AOC voted for the CARES Act. So that was
What?
so funny. Like,
Hold up.
Insanely critical of the CARES Act. It's one of the few fucking.
I swear. I swear she did. AOC voted for. Yep, she did. According to ABC. On why she voted for CARES Act. Let's see what she has to say. Hear what she has to say. Don't mute me.
Against the CARES Act. What was your rationale?
It was such a difficult moment, and casting lonely votes is not something that anyone relishes. But representing the hardest hit communities in the country, I knew that that bill was not structured to solve our biggest problems that we had. And the issue is that we were in a race against time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
In fact, we knew that we could do better because we had to come back to Congress just 4 weeks later to fix it.
So that's the problem with like the country or politics is that, or at least the way the
Do you think enough was done?
Congress works is that the other side will try to negotiate more bills to just tack on. So it's not like you're let's say you're voting for a bill for Medicare for all. You're also voting for an abortion ban or something crazy like that. So it's like the other side always adds more stuff they use the leverage of the other side to pass their own stuff, or they use the leverage of the bills that the other side wants to pass as leverage. So it's like, oh, you want Medicare for all? Well, now you have to do this, fund a wall, or now you have to, just increase military spending. So it's not always like set in stone, like that you're actually going to be voting for only one thing, which I understand. Like I knew that in 10th grade civics, so that's pretty obvious. That's how the country works, but it's very difficult. I get that part, obviously. But at the same time, it's necessary. Like, the problem is that they're not actually trying to put it up to our vote. Like, that's the part I don't understand. Is like, okay, 70% people want this, but why aren't you putting up a vote for it? A lot of people wanted the Iraq War, and then there was no problem putting that through the system. Yeah, war is fine. War's perfectly fine. They'll praise it to the goddamn heavens if that happened like 10 years ago. But if it's something to do with with actual people who are hurting right now, then you got to listen to the people who are part of the big healthcare, and make sure they get what they want, so that way they can fundraise your next campaign. And the problem is that they're so powerful that I think that they might be in everyone's pockets, but they're like the money that they provide is just too hard to pass up. That's why Medicare has had no real ground until now. If we just keep pressuring them, then they'll see that the money that they get from opposing Medicare for all will be inconsequential compared to the hate that they get throughout their whole career for not wanting to pass it, not wanting to even give it a shot, which is the perfect time for Medicare for all or Medicare. I would call it M4A plus public. Or M4A plus or something like that. Yeah, it's really necessary that we get it passed because it's just like people are hurting right now. We shouldn't bail out the corporations who have non-essential businesses. We should be bailing out the people because they pay into the system and they should at least get something back when shit goes sideways. Because it's like I hear the libertarian argument that you should just be paying for the military, but then you can't always if it's life or death, people will do what they need to survive, and sometimes they can't survive. Sometimes they're one of the hundreds of thousands of people who die from lack of medical care, and then their life's over. They can't do anything about it. It's just game over for them. It's not like they can just say, I did my best, but sometimes doing your best isn't enough. You'll still fail, and it's over with. Your life's over. It's just the way life is, and of course, people will do what they can to survive, and sometimes that means getting the government to work for you instead of working against you, like it is now. So, that's the way it is. You can't expect. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah, well, things are working against you. Like the system is broken, the game is broken. If you keep playing by the rules, then you won't get anywhere. It's insanity. You keep playing the same game over and over again and see if things will work out for you, but they don't. You have to change the rules of the game in order to win, or in order for it to work out for you. Because that's just keep playing.
Those essential workers, and what should we know about that? Well, no, enough wasn't done. I don't think that look at this crisis.
Yes, dungeon's hard.
Look at the numbers and say that we had done enough or that we did enough. We needed to have shut down earlier, and I think that
Is he geared?
the disparities between, say, California and New York.
Yeah, he
People
is.
thought it was an overreaction, but what we found and we're finding is that the states that were quote unquote overreacting are the ones that have less of a death toll.
Wait, what? Okay.
Like every fucking politician is supposed to be a Marxist or anarchist revolutionary. So I can sit back and be like, Bernie Sanders is, of course, imperfect, but pretty damn near close to perfect in the grand scheme of things with respect to the time and place. If you want to fucking organize, you have to recognize the importance of people like Bernie Sanders or the importance of people like AOC and all that they do to make left-leaning politics and leftist politics more mainstream so that you...
Yeah, that's kind of what Vosh's point was back in the day.
That's how it
a while back.
You understand this.
That they made
damn well
in grounds to
going to
have more progressive candidates
if they were going to take it
too.
to the fucking streets, they wouldn't be in politics to begin with. But
Inroads is
warmonger
the term, yeah.
is psychopathic. My take on this is a little bit different than other people's. AOC and Sirota and Sam Cedar and other people have had more thoughtful, more nuanced approaches to applying pressure to Nancy Pelosi, and I think that they are smart, and David Dane as well. I think they are correct in where you apply pressure. A symbolic vote on Medicare for all is just throwing it in the fucking garbage. If you're gonna, I'm not saying you should not apply pressure to Nancy Pelosi. I'm not even saying that you should vote for Nancy Pelosi. I think Nancy Pelosi sucks ass. Like, I don't think any of the any of us on the left are like, oh no, this is actually great and we love
This
Nancy
guy's so
Pelosi.
easy, and
Most people
the next guy
understand
is hard.
is apply pressure in areas where you can actually make a change. The symbolic gesture on Medicare for All is not an area of change, but forcing certain cabinet positions or using your political bottlenecking power to get certain appointments or to push for certain pieces of legislation is actually a smarter and more effective way of using your political capital. I think it's a lose-lose situation. I said this before. I said that it's either boom, purely symbolic, and Democrats all vote in unison and say yes in Congress and not in the Senate, knowing full well that it won't get passed in the Senate, or
But that's the thing. You have to campaign, even though you're, let's say if you have 2 Republicans for your state and your Senate, just talk to both of them, They'll still listen to people. They don't care. They're not going to say, oh, this guy's a Democrat, I'm not going to listen to him. At least give it a shot. At least talk to people on the other side who are, your state senators or whatever. Like, you can't just give up. Like, just, I don't know. It's like, oh, it won't pass through the Senate. Let's just give up on it. But then, I don't want to give up on it, These people should work for us, even though they're on the other party or they have different beliefs than us. People could still try to convince them. At least try, It's not like, I don't know. It's just, I'm too much of an idealist. Like, I don't. So I guess his point is that, yeah, progressives have done a lot for us. They've made inroads to, inroads, I keep forgetting that word, inroads to, pave the way for progressive candidates and progressive policies, but at the same time, we're not able to finish the job. We're not able to actually capitalize on this. Yeah, we made progress, but then the one thing that we really need, we're not even trying. That's basically Jerry Dorn's point. Is that they're just trying to blow it off as we're just not. It's not the right thing to do right now, and when is it the right time to do it? That's basically Jeremy Dorn's point. Is you keep saying that it's not the right time, but then what? Then we just keep waiting. We can wait internally. There's that Martin Luther King quote about if you delay something long enough, it won't happen. Something like that. A delay in politics means that it won't happen because they could just keep endlessly delaying it, something like that. I'll find it again, but right now I'm doing the dungeon. So, but yeah, he was right. They'll just keep delaying it. There's no consequences to delaying it. I don't think they believe there's any consequences of delaying this vote. And it's up to us to say that you work for us. We could find a better Speaker of the House. We could find a better, pretty much anything really. But the bosses, I think, were the sheep, but we're not. Or we're the bosses, really. That's what we are. It's time we start acting like it. So, Sam Cedar, he complained about Jimmy Dore's decorum. I mean, a lot of people are feeling what he's feeling. So, not just Jimmy Dore, but Kyle Klinsky and Humanist Report. You know, there's a lot of people who feel and who are saying the same thing he's saying, because he brought up the people on Twitter who are replying to AOC the very same main idea that he was going for. So it's not like he's an outlier. He's just some crazy Alex Jones guy. Because funny enough, he actually spit on Alex Jones in real life on camera. So he's pretty he doesn't really like Alex Jones that well. So the point is that he's not alone in what he believes, you know. A lot of people are fed up with how they're being treated. And they can't take it anymore. CARES Act, just a $600 stimulus. It's just like, and the fact that Trump was pressured by his aides to reduce to not complain about the size of the CARES Act, or the stimulus currently coming up. He should have, man. It would have been pretty good. Helpful, you know. Even though Trump's not perfect, he's really vocal. So if you get him on, you know, what you want, you could really stir the pot. That's what he's good at. Best at. But yeah. Okay, yeah, I gotta pay attention. I've probably been making hooked a couple times. Oh, on. This boss is pretty fun. Let me make a droid later on. Oh, I don't get this guy in Mythics. Come on, come on, come on. Sure shield. God, I suck at healing. Fuck it. I can't do that. I'm gonna die. I can do it now. God damn it. Fuck! Thought I could make it. I hate healing this goddamn raid or dungeon. Don't go on the hook. Go on right in front of it. Okay. Okay. Back to it.
They want to take it up as a political battle against Medicare for All to like purposely excise the left from the political arena and in unison with the media.
Jesus, how many keys do the guys have?
For a symbolic fucking bill that it wasn't going to go anywhere anyway, you are now officially just attacking Medicare for All for no fucking reason. And a lot of those voters, a lot of those MSNBC watching voters are now critical of Medicare for all if they otherwise had a more positive point of view. Where's the proof that they will vote for Medicare for all in the House? It will most likely get voted no in the House. Again, it's literally a lose-lose, which is because I originally thought maybe they'll vote no in the House. And if they vote no in the House, then you have a coordinated, unified media effort along with congressional establishment Democrats who literally fucking uses an example of how the left want unicorns and how, leftists don't know how to do politics and purposely vilify the left and also attack Medicare for all at a time when they're not even interested in pushing for the public option. If you want to put pressure, I said, put it on the virtue of the public option. Let them attack the public option if they're not going to do it. It's a symbolic yes vote regardless, even if it is a yes vote.
Key organizing moments may look like random uprisings and viral internet moments to some, but they aren't. They are the results of years of targeting, organizing, and people's movements. Hey, this took 2 weeks. This took 2 weeks from someone who already went bankrupt. Bills. It took 2 weeks. How long you been fucking working on this? I figured this out in 2 weeks, AOC. You liar, you coward, you gaslighter, you standing in the way of people in healthcare. You run on healthcare and then you deny it to us. You dangle it in front of your fucking constituents, and then when you get there, you don't lift a fucking finger. And I'm the problem? Fuck you. You already voted for the CARES Act. Fuck you. And fuck anybody
She did.
who's protecting her. Fuck
She voted for it.
I've never seen someone who smokes so much fucking weed get so mad all the time. Of course, in classic Jimmy Dore fashion,
constituents.
The error here is claiming that AOC voted for the CARES Act.
What the fuck happened?
That was funny. Like, she was insanely critical of the CARES Act. She's one of the few fucking voices who was literally like, she was to the left of Bernie on that. So that's pretty funny as well. So AOC's out of flavor now. Guys, I have criticized AOC in the past for some of her takes on Israel, or I've criticized AOC in the past for not immediately rushing to defend Ilhan Omar, or being too late to defend Ilhan Omar, even though they're friends, and I'm sure that she would probably take a lot of offense to that. I've also been extremely critical. This is the one issue that I am completely against AOC on. Okay, there's one issue where I am completely against AOC on, and that is League of Legends. The fact that she plays League of Legends is disgusting to me, okay? I'm just kidding. I think her Venezuela takes weren't great either. Like, there's some stuff with foreign policy in regards to like Bolivia and Venezuela where, I mean, I'll just look it up right now, but like, unfortunately, we don't have like fucking radical anti-war lefties anymore. We just don't have them. So like, most of the people that get into a position of power they turn out like they just don't have like very nuanced points of view and are terrified of coming across as like aggro against American imperialism. The right time to vote on Medicare for all will never come, even if the Dem supermajority blue dogs will exist who say no to it. What then? Again, reply to Kyle.
Perch.
Kyle wants a vote for Medicare for all to be on the floor. Why does he want that? Because he wants to know who the enemies are within the Democratic Party. Do I disagree with that? Absolutely not. I do agree with the right time to vote for Medicare for all and the public pressure. But the time to do it when people can effectively get on board and say, yes, I want Medicare for all, when there is no certainty that, like, when fucking Joe Biden isn't even the president yet, and that and we don't even know if Democrats are going to have the Senate majority. People can symbolically fucking oppose it or symbolically get on board with it, and it doesn't matter. Also, I need to once again mention that if AOC tomorrow said we're gonna fucking push for Medicare for all, I would not stand in opposition and say, oh, it's the wrong time now. Just remember that Kamala signed on for Medicare for all. Exactly. If there was an organized movement to continue the pressure on the Democratic Party right now for Medicare for all, and the Democrats held the Senate and the House, and Joe Biden was president, and at that point you pushed for a fucking bill like this, and then we saw actually who was against Medicare for all, because you no longer can put together, symbolic yes votes. That's the best way to do it. Yeah. That is the best time and place to do it. So if Dems win Georgia, will you support a Medicare for all vote? I support a Medicare for all vote tomorrow if you want it. I am critical of it I'm critical of the people who are like fucking freaking out and losing their minds over it. But if I said it from day one. Like, if AOC was like, no, we're gonna do it, we're gonna push for a Medicare for all vote tomorrow, then I'm not gonna stand in opposition against that. I'm for Medicare for all. Even if I think something is not the right move or not the sound move, that doesn't stop me from still advocating for it. I don't care. I'm still going to try to make it work as best as possible. You can call me a grifter for that reason, if you want, but that's it. I am a grifter for Medicare for all. I want Medicare for all. AOC said the floor vote should be forced.
Where's the purified? Fuck.
A vote that's not going to go anywhere, but I would be in favor of it. Yeah.
Fuck.
And the reason for why I would be in favor of it in that situation is because I'm in favor of Medicare for all across the board. So if someone is advocating for it, I'm not going to stand in opposition against it.
Just wipe. Damn.
For our main story tonight, I'd like to do something a little different and just quickly tell you about a beloved icon of my childhood, and it's this man.
For 20 years, he made the dreams of young people come true with his
Who?
hugely popular Jim'll Fix It program. Best known for his tracksuit, tinted glasses, and Havana cigar.
Now, I know it's hard to believe, but that bizarre-looking man, Jimmy Savile, was a national hero. We named places for him, we gave him a knighthood, we even put up this statue of him, even though it clearly looks more like a cheese sculpture of George Carlin that someone left in the sun. Now, he had a show called Jim'll Fix It, where he basically granted wishes. And like many British kids, I actually wrote to him. I asked him to make me the mascot for Liverpool Football Club, and he never wrote back, which I'm actually glad about, because after he died, Britain began to find out who he really was, and the truth was horrific.
He's gone from a much-loved entertainer and respected charity fundraiser to a man described by Scotland Yard as a predatory sex offender. Jimmy Savile's headstone was here for less than 3 weeks. His epitaph read,
God damn it.
That is an unsettling thing to have written.
Okay, it's just me. Y'all are reincarnate. Why not?
Every famous epitaph would sound horrifying written on a sex offender's gravestone. From Dean Martin's Everybody Loves Somebody Sometime to Rodney Dangerfield's There Goes the Neighborhood. You know, funny, but if he'd been a sex offender, not so much. The point is, Savile's headstone was taken down, as was that sign and that creepy statue, because once we found out that he was a monster, we accepted it was no longer appropriate to publicly glorify him. Which actually brings us to our main story tonight, the Confederacy. America's tracksuit sex offender. Now, in recent years, there has been a robust debate over Confederate symbols, from flags being taken down to statues being removed, to the white nationalist rallies in Charlottesville, both one that ended in violence in August and another one that happened just last night. So, as this debate is clearly not going away, we wanted to take a look at some of the arguments, because you don't have to look hard to find people very upset at the idea of Confederate statues being taken away.
You can't change history. You can't pick and choose what you decide is history.
I think I'll just leave them alone and leave them where they are, you know.
Fuck.
They're part of history.
I just don't think we can erase our history.
It may not represent the best idea that anybody ever came up with, but nevertheless,
Fuck.
part of our history. And,
Purge!
I think it should stay.
Purge!
You know what, I'll give him this. He is right.
Fuck.
The Confederacy and everything that came with it is, to put it mildly, not the best idea anybody ever came up with, because that, of course, is making grilled cheese on a toaster turned sideways. That is a billion-dollar idea that is also completely worthless. But they're also right about one thing. We should remember our history. So tonight, let's do that, and let's look at the unique heritage of these symbols, starting with the fact that there are a lot more than you might expect.
The Southern Poverty Law Center found some 1,500 Confederate memorials across the country. More than 700 of them are statues and monuments, and 10 U.S. military bases are named for Confederate officers.
Think about that. There are U.S. military bases named for Confederate officers, and they were the enemy. They killed U.S. soldiers. That's like finding out that Nancy Kerrigan named her child Tonya Harding. Why would you do that? That's a weird choice. And tributes to the Confederacy are everywhere in the South, and notably some in the North too. And that map doesn't include kitschy ways that the Civil War is presented, like at this family restaurant.
Dolly Parton's Dixie.
Get it. Get it. Defense industry bailout.
In Washington, D.C. are currently very busy negotiating with each other for another stimulus. There is one giant problem, though. There are no stimulus checks in any of the newly proposed stimulus bills. So they're bipartisan. You know, I think one
Come
was
on.
Manchin and McConnell.
Purge.
Was it? It
There.
was Manchin and somebody.
God.
And now you have a new one. It was like Manchin and Romney. The number keeps coming down. We went from like 2 trillion to like 1 trillion to 900 billion. There was one that was proposed that was like 188 billion. So they're a mess. Everybody's a mess. What the Democrats did is they took some of their most conservative members and now had them go and negotiate with the Republicans.
I like how they're using this spell a lot
the
more
results
often.
are grotesque.
That's definitely something they
Grotesque.
should have.
So now we've had what, 2,
added
3 different
more
proposals
of.
for stimulus bills
As far as mechanics
that
go.
have no stimulus checks. That's a non-starter. You should immediately rip that up. You should immediately use it for toilet paper. It's just, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're going to have a stimulus bill with no stimulus checks at a time when, for what, 9 months now, Americans have been living
God
off of
damn it.
$1,200.
Was he frozen?
We're really getting
Come
in dangerous
on.
territory in terms of
Heal him, motherfucker!
as soon as they get rid of these protections, foreclosures and evictions, it's going to be record numbers. 60% of small businesses closing permanently.
Come on.
People slipping into poverty. left
Heal,
and right,
heal,
20
heal, heal.
million on the brink of homelessness. I mean, you just
God
can't-
damn it.
You really can't wrap your mind around the pain, and these idiots are proposing stimulus bills with no stimulus checks. I would immediately vote no on all of them. Now, thankfully,
Thank God.
Holly
That was
and
messy.
Bernie are fighting to have $1,200 stimulus checks. Good for them. I'm glad that they're working together on that. But in this new stimulus bill without stimulus checks, let me show you this. Warren Gunnels says it took 3 days for defense contractor CEOs to get their top priority included in the Gang of 8 COVID relief bill. Meanwhile, this bill has a $0 check for working class Americans and $0 to prevent the mass layoffs of state and local government workers. How low can you go? And then, you see the provision there. That's for defense contractors. Public
damn.
Citizen also said underneath there, unreal, defense contractor CEOs are actually writing Congress begging for more coronavirus relief money. 40 million people in the U.S. are on the verge of eviction, and defense industry ghouls are out here trying to pad their pockets with your tax dollars. So they listened. The second the defense industry got in contact with Congress, they were like, oh, that's right, we got to slip in a provision for them. This story is such a great indicator, a teaching moment for how Washington, D.C. really functions. Because
Jesus.
whoever is paying their legalized bribes, they're going to get taken care of. It's I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And we saw this with the initial bills for COVID and for the economic downturn.
I need a bank.
You had Congress rush in to make sure we bail out the stock market, we bail out businesses, multinational corporations. That was the whole point. The Fed, $5 trillion worth. The Fed was just basically socializing the marketplace, implementing full corporate socialism. So you saw this weird disconnect where the market was doing phenomenally well as people were slipping into poverty and food bank lines were growing longer and longer. Boeing got billions of dollars, and then they turned around and fired tens of thousands of workers anyway. So, but understand, now you would look at that and you'd go, that makes no sense. They're doing these things which are totally unreasonable and illogical. Why would you do such a thing? But the real reason is they've been paid. They're bought and owned. The reason you bail out the defense industry is because Raytheon and Boeing and Halliburton and Honeywell, these are people who donate to your campaign when you run for office. You're going to look out for them. You're going to look out to all the Wall Street ghouls who donated to your campaign. You know, all the corporate ghouls, big pharma, for-profit health insurance companies, the list goes on and on. This is who you're really representing. Unless you say it's just a theory. We've actually discussed the research from Princeton. There was a Princeton study that found that basically, regular people don't get their opinions reflected in D.C., whereas corporations do, and the wealthy do. Do you need a better example? I mean, people are desperate. We're having a negotiation around a stimulus bill. There are no stimulus checks in the stimulus bill, but there's more money for the defense industry. By the way, the defense industry is absolutely booming. They get more and more money every year. Trump has increased the defense budget, Pentagon budget, every single year. They're not struggling by any stretch of the imagination.
Mhm.
But there's a provision to look after the defense industry before there's a provision for stimulus checks for the American people. Break out the pitchforks and the torches, baby. That's all I have to say, because this is unacceptable. And I think the thing that frustrates me the most is that to them this is like so nonchalant and it's just another day.
That's so cool.
Whatever. Propose the stimulus bill with no stimulus checks that also bails out the defense
I
industry.
want you to hear one.
To bail out. They're just like, what do you mean? What's the problem? Is there a problem? How's there a problem? I don't understand. Yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem. The whole government is bought and owned by the military-industrial complex, and you're representing them instead of the American people. Of course there's a problem. People are going hungry. Look at the food bank lines, slipping into poverty. Gonna get foreclosed on and evicted. And this is what they do. This is who they support. This whole system is corrupt. Anybody who defends this system is either incredibly ignorant or genuinely stupid. Or they're in on it and they're corrupt themselves. So, inexcusable. Beyond inexcusable. Again, I don't know how much more we could take before the pitchforks and the torches come out, but as I read this one, something broke inside of me.
thing, and it's long. And so you wind up with like a very, very polarizing dynamic.
Right.
And so it's these kinds of mechanics that I think people are not paying attention to properly. Of the things that have changed my life through Yang Speaks, I'd have to say the Unagi scooter is either number one or tied for number one. It's this freaking Tesla of electric scooters where you get it and you zip around. It feels like a magic carpet. My kids are so envious because they're not big enough to ride it yet. I don't know if this says something about my parenting, but now the older one I do stick on the scooter in front of me, and then I whiz around on it. But it makes you feel like you're in the future. It's environmentally friendly. You just plug it in. If you live in the city, it will transport you where you want to go, without having to struggle with public transportation. It's beautiful. It's slick. Everyone looks at it and is like, what is that? That's the Unagi scooter for you. I can't speak highly enough about it. We got a second one. And then now when someone visits me, like the two of us go around like we're in this really futuristic scooter gang where we just like whiz around and generally just have a blast. We even went out at night because these things have these headlights that really make you seem like a UFO. It's like, I don't know if you've done that, Zach. Have you done that?
I've gone at night. In New York, it is awesome to ride because it's faster than the bikes. generally speaking, or the slow city bikes, and faster than runners.
God damn, it takes forever.
I love it. It's not
freaking
that heavy either. It's like 25 pounds or so. I think 26 pounds the exact weight, but it looks good. Folds up. It's beautiful. You can basically have like 20 miles of range. And they actually, this is fun because it actually just won an award. CNET gave it best all-around electric scooter, and then it won its first place for the best electric scooter by Tom's Guide. So it's not just us starting to rave about this thing. It's real.
Yes, and right now, for a limited time, you can get $150 off for the holidays. This is the lowest price they will have for the next year. So check them out now. You will be glad.
God
You will
damn
be
it.
grateful. This thing's a real game changer.
All right, I tried.
Today at unagiscooters.com. That's UNAGI
All right.
scooters.com.
Someone will leave, probably.
So I've been
Struggling.
reading this book, Why We're Polarized by Ezra Klein, and it's this exhaustive treatment as to why we're polarized and why we can't get along. And it definitely informs what's going on in Congress, because you at this point have these two parties warring with each other, and neither side can win, so we all lose. You know, like there was a hope that Democrats would have a governing majority after this election, and it doesn't look like that's happening. It's one reason I'm here in Georgia, is there's hope, but you have to win 2 Senate races in January.
Marvel's Anthem.
I think I've made it quite clear over the course of this show.
Died
that
faster
I'm
than Anthem,
just
actually.
about bloody sick of it. I'm sick of the injustice, I'm sick of the disparity, I'm sick of the abuse that goes on in the industry and the wider socio-economic systems that we're all trapped in as a whole. And I know what some of you are thinking. Well, Jim, it's all very well you being fed up, but what are you going to do about it? Well, I have a plan. The time is ready, and I think some of the more revolutionary among you know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, that. Yggdrasil, my friend. The world's tree.
The world is
Find
burning.
out
Let's
the hallowed
masturbate.
ground, wherever that shit be growing, right? We go over there with axes. We chop it down. We take Yggdrasil, the world tree, to my cousin's house. He's got a lockup. Sorted. Bosh. Get it in there. Get some circular saws going. I know someone called Lloyd. He and his friends live down by the river. They find circular all sorts of things. Some of them are lined, some of them rusty. The rusty ones are what we want to look at. Bring them back to the lockup. Here's where things get juicy. We strip that thing down for parts. Branches.
I've
gone,
seen it
Leaves.
just before.
Bye-bye. We take the trunk, we turn that into logs. Now, here's where the billionaires fund their own demise. We sell authentic Yggdrasil, the world tree logs to billionaires. They will pay top dollar. And then we take that money, we use it to fund our own company, a media empire. We buy advertising time. We run public service announcements.
Fuck, don't die on me, you bitch.
£1 million.
Dog, let me get over.
Jeffrey, time to pay the piper. I want them queen quids.
God damn.
So, Justin, where's
People get mad, people leave. I'll live on.
Is it invalid?
Bye. People who want to leave, goodbye. Bye-bye.
Marvel's Avengers delivers a narrative over multiple years, with exciting new content released at a regular basis.
Well, how's that working out for you? Oh. Oh, yes. When Marvel's The Marvel Avengers by Marvel was announced at E3 2019, we were told it would last years. That very much like Anthem before it and Destiny before that, Marvel's Avengers would be a perpetual service that we would want to keep playing forever. And like Anthem before it, as well as Destiny before that, the claim was complete bullshit.
Of course it was bullshit. And I'm not just talking about the frankly embarrassing number of people who are still playing the game. It was bullshit because it's always bullshit. It was always gonna be bullshit. It's always been bullshit. Every time a studio promises their game has a decade-long plan or has content designed to be unveiled over several years, they're either lying or they're so incredibly naive as to be fucking idiotic. A handful of games that incidentally blew up and became online powerhouses have actually lasted years, and of them, very few have run to an entire fucking decade. I mean, 10 years. In an industry obsessed with annual sequels, in an industry with the attention span of a magpie, in an industry that cancels projects,
Wow.
lays off staff, and simply gives up on things at the drop of a hat, we're supposed to believe so-called AAA publishers can make a worthy product built to last 10 years. If this industry could actually tell the truth and or keep its promises, we'd still be playing the first Destiny right now, and we still wouldn't be particularly close to finishing it. We were supposed to all still really be into Anthem by now. It was meant to have big chapter updates, but they never came. It was supposed to be getting a big overhaul still, but we've heard nothing in months, and it'll be far too late to drag players back into it now. Do you want to play on your new PS5? No, Mum, shut the fuck up. I've got Anthem to play. As for the Avengers, it released in September, a few weeks ago at the time of talking, and it's already a wasteland. Not Wasteland the game. People play that. People play that.
burn.
Now, players of Marvel's The James Cameron's Avengers are struggling to find multiplayer
Wasteland
matches because
game.
there aren't enough
People play
players,
that.
and you kind of need players for multiplayer. You
Ah!
need multiples of them, at the very least. That is the
Don't
reality
die on
that
me.
Crystal Dynamics told us was a year's
Oh!
experience.
Oh!
A couple weeks after launch, and fewer than 1,000 concurrent players can be found on PC, which is a problem for a game that contrived to censor false longevity entirely off the back of its desperately tacked on online features. For indeed, you can't have a live service if the player base is dead, and that's something these companies continue to fail to consider when they cobble together a half-baked, bug-ridden, content-poor, thoroughly shoddy product with the intent to fix it after everybody's bought it. It turns out that when you sell garbage, people treat it like garbage and throw it in the fucking bin. Somehow, despite the industry being littered
now
with the
what?
corpses of live services that failed to live, it's a
Oh,
lesson
he just came in for the thing. This is shitty.
You can't keep putting out trash and expecting everyone to stick around
Gonna do
until
it.
you clean
Why
it
not
up.
just go
We'll move on with our lives
with a
and
guild
you're
group
stuck trying
then?
to fix your product for a dwindling audience, throwing good money after bad, and fallaciously sinking your costs. See Anthem, see Evolve, see some of the games that came out this year that you don't even know a thing about, like Bleeding Edge or Rogue Company. Actually, Rogue Company came out not too long ago. I don't know if it's doing well. It's rubbish. Or the latest attempt to make the culling a thing. And some of those aren't even terrible. But they're not inspiring, they're not standout, and none of them have ever felt like complete high-quality, content-rich experiences. I quite liked Bleeding Edge. Played it for a couple days. Haven't touched it since. Never will. Now you look at Fall Guys, that's a live service. The developers there keep having to apologise because the servers can't handle the amount of players. They're not having to keep on apologising for the game being shit. As for Marvel's Avengers, well, that game is frankly just shit. Avengers is, in my humble opinion, one of this year's very worst games, and I still scarcely believe it got any critical praise. I mean, there are people who do like this game for some fucked up reason, but I don't know how. Its combat is a sloppy, visually unpleasant mess with a cluttered UI and more physics bugs than the University of Chicago's cockroach training program. That just about works. Visually, it's washed out, lifeless, drab. The character models are the most boring and insipid takes on Marvel's characters perhaps ever. The writing is banal, the mic the battle pass staff is a total fucking
what?
con.
Oh,
and everything's wrapped up in the
VW.
trappings of a bottom-feeding, looter-shooter service game where the loot is meaningless, menu-filling rubbish, and you spend most of your time fighting generic robots. Even for boss fights, because that's what you want in a Marvel game. Fuck the supervillains, you want robots. And AIM scientists, and AIM robots, and robots and robots. Scientists. Elites. Ooh. It's the consummate AAA game, a pathetically safe, corporate-backed, rush-to-market product bereft of personality and stuffed with a monetization. Basically, if you want to play an even more boring Dynasty Warriors game with a thoroughly uncharismatic splash of comic book paint, Marvel's Avengers is exactly what you want. Once you're done with the game's milquetoast narrative campaign, you have an entire service to look forward to, which is really just the exact same shit with slightly less narrative. And let me tell you, after just a day playing this repetitive, grinding, unsatisfying slog of a time waster,
fucking heal.
I didn't want any more of it, let alone years of
Died
this
too
shit.
fast.
Apparently only less than 1,000 people have more patience for it than I did, which is the exact same story we had with Anthem last year, because this fucking industry just doesn't learn, and just like Anthem, Marvel's Avengers' developers are now kidding themselves into thinking this cadaver's heart can be jump-started. We are listening, we are making fixes, improvements and additions as fast as we safely can to make Marvel's Avengers the game we all aspire it to be, said Crystal Dynamics' Scott Amos, saying the usual carbon copy exec speak we've heard a million fucking times. You're listening, are you? You're always listening. We are confident that we'll see PC players, as well as those on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, return to the game as we add exciting new late-game content and demonstrate that we continue to be focused on improving the game. Scott? Sure. 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 Yeah, all you need to do is add your AIM cloning lab mission and the players will come flocking back to you. Oh yeah, that'll bring the boys back to the yards, won't it? The juicy milkshake of the AIM cloning facility. What even is that? The entire fucking game is an AIM cloning facility. It's all you fucking fight. Yeah, Scott, I used to tell myself I could turn this YouTube channel around, but sometimes you just need to face reality. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jim Sterling. Also, one common thread with a lot of these are live service games. When you see follow-up interviews, post-launch interviews with developers, they're never talking about how great things are. They're never talking about how brilliant the product is. It's all, going forward, we'll improve things, we're listening, we're gonna fix stuff. Brilliant PR. I wonder why people haven't flooded your servers. I'm not the only one to have noticed that we've all heard this song before. Forbes started its story on the Avengers player base woes by copying and pasting an article.
Well, they'll just know that he's lying. Why would you do that?
It's almost frightening how identical the two
It's
stories
just bullshit.
are, up to and including mentioning that people are hacked off with the loot. Not just the same basic situation, the same style of game, made for the same cynical motives, facing the same criticisms and suffering the exact same problems. It's almost as if these AAA companies with no substantial experience in service games or looter-shooter style products just barrel into a medium without bothering to learn how things work or whether the market has room for another fucking one of these things. Then they just crap out something unbalanced and unfinished that they have to spend their time apologizing for and fixing instead of building upon. Almost as if people running these studios, BioWare, haven't got a fucking clue. And when their clueless bullshit fucks things up, that just creates more work and crunch for the people on the lower rungs of the ladder.
Is it demonology? Whoa.
Slapping the
Cool.
Marvel logo on something might
I'm gonna
be a
try
good
that
way
out.
to sucker people into an initial purchase, but it's clearly not enough to keep those suckers sucked. No, to keep a player base, you actually need a game worth playing, and you need one when the actual game launches, ideally. You can't keep fucking
Might
taking
try PvP.
$60, a price you all want to raise to $70 this year, for games that will be worth spending money on 12 months down the line. Especially when your unfinished game invariably has a perfectly polished microtransaction store that keeps asking for more cash on top. And that's just fucking insulting, you know that, right? You do know that. Developers and publishers, it's downright offensive for these vapid skeletal products to beg for more money while you're still trying to make them worth the original entry fee. And you really think you deserve to maintain a player base when you do that?
Nope.
No, you don't fucking deserve to keep players. Marvel's Avengers is fucking poison. It's a corporate buffet table which has already seen one of its best characters sectioned off as a PlayStation exclusive. It offers tacky and sickening sponsored skins that turn Captain America into a Verizon billboard, and it features a premium battle pass per character, complete with obligatory mind-numbing grind if you don't want to keep spending money on it. And the skins are shit, that's perhaps the worst part. You take these generic, dull as shit stunt double Marvel characters and then you sell cosmetics that mostly look worse than the MCU rip-off costumes they start with. Marvel characters are good, like they're like comic book characters. They're cool, they're colourful, they're wild, you made shit. And then you offered us ways to buy clothes that look like shit so we could dress your shit characters up. Like shit! And about that PlayStation exclusive we brought up, fucking Spider-Man is a PS exclusive. I mean, How can we pretend Avengers deserves more than 1,000 PC players when PC players were told up front that their copy of the game, while costing the same, would inherently have less content than the PlayStation version? Not just less content, but lacking perhaps the most iconic Marvel character of all time. Like being told you couldn't be Batman in a DC game, but others could. That's explicitly what PC and Xbox players learned. If I were them, I wouldn't have bought the game either. Not unless it was a used copy. Crystal Dynamics fucked the pumpkin the very day this game was announced when it said they were planning years of content. Only an imbecile at that moment could have believed that was true, and only someone unfamiliar with the mainstream game industry could have heard that and not dreaded the bullshit that was to follow. And bullshit surely followed. Every bit of news we heard about this game before launch made it sound like a worse and worse deal, and when it came out it was exactly what I dreaded it would be. Yet more AAA live service glue. I'm not a game developer. Look, I know that, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two, so I have some advice for Crystal Dynamics. Just a thing, just a little outsider bit of wisdom. You need to do more than just say your game won't have fucking loot boxes in it.
So
Right.
our promise to the community is that we won't have random loot boxes or scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, at E3, in front of an audience full of fucking sycophants, you can say your game won't have loot boxes and get a ton of applause and cheering. Easy applause. Easy cheering. At E3 2019, you got the biggest round of applause this game has ever gotten and will ever get, and you earned that applause by doing the absolute
Burn.
bare minimum. Maybe
Damn.
that response will let you believe that's all you ever had to do, but as you have just learned, the bare minimum is only good for a cheap crowd pop. It's not going to keep that crowd sticking around now, is it? This year, Fall Guys came out of nowhere to become one of the biggest games in the world. This year, Among Us came out of obscurity to become one of the biggest games in the world. They didn't have massive E3 press conferences dedicated to them. They didn't have
They were fun games. That's what you had to do.
They also didn't have your budgets and resources and
Like,
numbers and
I
marketing.
remember seeing it on Twitter and I was like, "Whoa, this game's cool." Now it's just like huge out of nowhere.
What they've had is good,
Because of the
replayable,
sponsored
entertaining
streams, that helps a
content. They
lot.
have content that's actually been fun, that's actually been trying to entertain players rather than draw them in to an addictive gameplay loop. It's the subtle difference between a game designed to provide fun and a game designed to form habits. They didn't even have to try to become huge live games. They just came out and people loved them, and here we are. You can't just decide a game will be a mega smash hit and a household name and then try to make a game that lives up to the decision you've just made about a game that doesn't exist. That's what BioWare tried to do with Anthem. It's what Crystal Dynamics has tried to do with Avengers, and it doesn't work. You can't just decide your game is beloved. You have to do something
to earn
people
it.
will actually, you know,
Love.
love.
Do you remember when I
Exactly.
showed you those Street Sharks animation cells the other week? Well, I was so impressed with them I got some Masters of the Universe ones, and I think I made a mistake getting a popular show because, yeah, what the fuck is this
Stuff.
little trumpet boy? It's just a little trumpet boy. This is a master of the universe. It doesn't even look like a master of that trumpet. It's shit. Prince Adam's eyes and hair. How in the what the fuck?
Tacky. But cool.
This is literally the best one I got. Taylor doing nothing. Which brings us to this asshole. Sad Roger. Sad Roger the Wizard. Who I don't know who the fuck it is. It's not Skeletor. It's not Merman. It's not even fucking Triclops. It's Sad Roger, everyone. It's Sad Roger. He's just looking. What does that is not an that is an expression of nothing. That is just an expression of Sad Roger. Thank God for me, and fuck Sad Roger, the wizard. Do you think they'll like that video? Yeah. Why not let us know if you did?
from there, what is the future of Anthem? And is there a future of Anthem? That's a question I
Yes,
see a lot.
there's a future for Anthem. A very bright future, we hope.
Don't give up, 'cause you have friends.
Wow.
Don't give up, you're not beaten.
Wow. Born innocent. Like you, I'm a born innocent.
Anthem. Anthem.
He's probably gonna kill me, isn't he?
Leslie Grantham.
He is
What there
AFK.
to be said about Anthem?
I'm not gonna fuck with him.
Quite a lot. For me, at least, the chance to do a hot take on Anthem is an opportunity that never cooled down. I've got all the time in the world to talk about the disaster that is BioWare's live service extravaganza. And I believe Anthem to be a caution.
You're gonna kill me, aren't you?
An example of what can happen
Probably
when
not.
a studio tackles something that it's got no experience with
Nope.
and no real business tinkering around with. It's an example of jumping aboard the live service bandwagon without a plan of action. And it's a warning to customers not to jump upon a hot new live service game that doesn't have an evidenced plan. So there's a lot to dissect there, a lot to pull apart, a lot to do, a lot of organs for us to cut into with a patented Jimquisition post-mortem. So enough talk, get on with the video, which is nothing but talking, so it's not enough talk, literally. Enough talk, let's talk! Development on what would become Anthem began in 2012, straight after Mass Effect 3 was released, Jesus, and under the watchful eye of BioWare game director Casey Hudson. In this embryonic stage, the game was codenamed Dylan, after the legendary musician Bob Dylan. This is because BioWare hoped their new game would, like the travelling Wilbury himself, be talked about for many years to come. While funny in hindsight, there's a serious point to be made with this perhaps arrogant and certainly presumptuous codename. At this time, BioWare had no real ideas for Project Dylan. They knew they wanted an action game, they knew they wanted co-op play, and they knew it shouldn't be like Mass Effect or Dragon Age. That's it. All they had firmly decided was that it'd be a co-op action game. Technically, they had more ideas on what it shouldn't be than what it should be. And yet, they compared this formless, faceless, practically conceptless game to Bob fucking Dylan. The lesson here is, maybe have an actual game in your hands before you decide its pop cultural impact. Yeah? The game would get a less cocky working title, Beyond, which it kept until 2017. Early ideas for Beyond included the concept of a location akin to the Bermuda Triangle, where dangerous creatures and perilous disasters were sucked in. Players would have powered robo-suits like Iron Man and take part in survival-based gameplay, striking out from a safe area to complete missions before fighting their way back. Many comparisons were made within BioWare to other titles at this stage. Dark Souls, Shadow of the Colossus, Darkest Dungeon, evoking a world of intimidating monstrosities and lethal, challenging gameplay. From dynamic weather phenomena to huge, scalable beasts, the ambition for Beyond was off the charts and a far cry from the generic and repetitive looter-shooter that Anthem would become. Anthem, still internally Beyond, was first glimpsed by the public at E3 2014 with a self-aggrandizing developer video. And by glimpsed, I mean BioWare confirmed the existence of something.
While the Montreal studio is working on the next Mass Effect game, our team here in Edmonton is developing a completely new IP.
It's a chance to have a clean sheet design and start from the most fundamental principles you can have.
We want to take on very contemporary stories, and yet we want to build a world that is as big and as imaginative as everything we've done before.
Its name unrevealed, BioWare simply said it was working on a new intellectual property, while BioWare Montreal handled the next Mass Effect game, Mass Effect Andromeda. Development was a struggle, to say the least. In 2014, Casey Hudson left BioWare, leaving the project leaderless and existing staff worried about keeping things on track. In 2015, Dragon Age's David Gator would come to work on the game's story, but his influence made it feel more
You're gonna
like
kill me, aren't
BioWare's
you?
previous work, which is exactly what
You are
Gator
not.
would
gonna kill
leave
me.
in
I don't
2016,
think so.
things would shift closer toward the original concept, but these constant changes would take a toll
What?
on the designers and artists. An issue further compounded by Electronic Arts' Patrick Soderlund's mandate that all EA games must use the Frostbite engine. BioWare had problems working with the unfamiliar engine, and subsequently had fewer developers working on Project Beyond after EA moved some of the developers onto FIFA. We wouldn't know exactly how strained, messy, and thoroughly fucked development was until after the game's release, when Jason Schreier published his now infamous expose on Anthem's history. But we'll get to that. For now, let's just safely say that working on the future Anthem was stressful, confusing, and mentally unhealthy. In 2017, it really went to cock. Patrick Soderlund had seen a demo of the game in action, and he was worried. In his view, the state of the project didn't match what BioWare's efforts had promised in 2014, and he ordered senior staff to discuss game improvements with Frostbite developer DICE and expected a new demo made. At this point, it was believed if the next demo failed, the project was over, and they spent 6 weeks putting something fresh together. Fortunately for BioWare, their decision to implement a flight mechanic, something that was on and off the table several times during development, gained a positive reception from Soderlund. Less fortunate was the suggested difficulty in trademarking a name like Beyond, causing BioWare to rely on a backup name, Anthem. At this time, Mass Effect Andromeda had released to the raucous booing of the general public. A mediocre and buggy game, its tepid release was followed by the closure of BioWare Montreal, continuing a long legacy of Electronic Arts studios shutting down. But hey, it freed up some folks to join the Anthem project, I guess, and
What?
Anthem was publicly unveiled at E3 2017.
The storm is getting crazy. So what are we supposed to do? Fly into it?
All right, let's do this.
See you on the other side.
The game had a projected release period of Q4 2018, but that wasn't going to happen. EA would not give BioWare much of an extension either, saying Anthem had to be out by March 2019. Casey Hudson
Wow.
had come back, and executive producer Mark Darrah joined the effort, among several other developers that were previously working on Dragon Age 4 and were bussed over to Anthem. Anthem's public perception wasn't exactly overburdened with hype. In November 2017, Electronic Arts had brought its own reputation to a staggering new low, with the release of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh dear. A game maligned for its over-reliance on loot boxes, grinding and unrewarding gameplay, and a bevy of associated PR fuck-ups. This would include the notorious Reddit comment, the most downvoted comment in Reddit history, where EA tried to justify the exhausting grind
Oh,
of
wow.
the game as
I
encouraging a
forgot.
sense
It's still
of pride
most
and accomplishment
downvoted.
in its players. At this time,
I'm sure it
Anthem
is.
had drawn inescapable comparisons to Destiny,
I'm
despite
I'm
BioWare's
curious.
intentions, and the idea of a looter shooter
Um,
published by the microtransaction-obsessed
Most downvoted comment in Reddit history. Oh. Okay. Tea party. Oh. Still, most downvoted comment as it's still the most downvoted comment. Holy fuck. What is it like? What is that now? Like, it was like -1 million, I think. Last time I checked, when Jim Sterling did his video on it. 683,000. Fuck me. That was, wait, is that literally just a list of it? Thanos did nothing wrong. A lot of abuse. Literally asked for them. Yeah, he did. True. Good point. Jesus Christ. 680 ripping people off then brigading. Wow. Pretty much, yeah. Holy shit. What else is there? Mod abuse from R Roll 20. Nipple just. Oh my god. Okay, I'm curious now. I found a homemade electric chair while exploring an abandoned building in Croatia. Oh. What? Try connecting the battery to your nipples. Or your genitals and keep it connected for a minute or two until you get that the current can't hurt you. Wait. That wasn't even in bad taste. Like, it was, what do you call it? Appeal to authority? Or demonstration of authority? Anyway. Alright, I did that one. Got it all. You took me. Okay, bottom Twitter. Riot member in the middle of riot. Defending Trump. What? Here we go. Oh, Fallout 76. Yeah. The president needs to be able to respond to a nuclear attack. The others don't. Oh. Well. Damn. That looks so cool. I'm only about to fall asleep, so yeah. Let's go back. Wrong one. Damn it. Alright. But I'm going, too bad. I'll be on Sunday at 11 a.m. for the Rock Band 3. Or Rock Band 2, maybe. I kind of want to play Panic Attack, so thanks for coming in. I'll be back on tomorrow at 11 a.m.